Hey guys, Susanna here. Welcome to part 3. So it's looking beautiful, looking so good. As you can see, I finished doing the attached fly stitch for along here. Just looks so nice. And I've done the feather stitch along here, and I've only got a little bit left to do. So I want to show you how you start. So when you do this, you start with, like, you go A and get your thing over, and you go with it B, C. So you start off like a little Y, and then you go, see, that's Y, and then you pull it over and you go D, E. I'll show you how that's going to work. Okay, so we'll zoom it in. There we go. I'll just finish this little bit off. Okay. It can get a little tricky because there's a bit of bulk involved. I'll just finish this last bit off. You've got to have a bit of a rhythm. Okay, that's the Y, okay, that we've got there, and then you go over to this side. Always grab some of that edging, and then where that bit joins, you go over this side. Now that's sort of in the corner. Push the thumb. The thumb pushes it over. Either way, when you get into the corners, it can get a little tricky. Okay, so we're back again. That, you go over a bit, go on that angle. I know it's a little bit stuff everywhere, but over on that angle, make sure you're catching it. Push it with the thumb. I find when I'm sewing on something that I can hold it properly, I do it a different way, but because I'm doing it this way and I'm trying to catch and, you know, holding the bulk, I find this way is easier. So you get into a bit of a routine. One way, over, the other way, left to right, a little bit over. The easiest way to remember is just at that same height as the other one. And see, sometimes when you get to the corner, you go out like that, and I'll just do the corner, because you're going around, so it seems a little bit tricky, but you've got to remember that's where it is here. Go up. Okay, this little thumb is good to hold it down. Come out, in, through. It is easier when you've got it pulled closer to you. So okay, over, just get your books and have a look for fly stitch if this is confusing. I'm gonna have most embroidery, not fly stitch, feather stitch. Okay, over, see, sometimes the V can be a little bit squished, but that's okay because it's going around the corner. It's all good. Bit over. Nearly at the end. It's taken a bit. This will take you a while. It'll be made a little bit easier if your tablecloth is not as big. That would be good, but they're all going to look beautiful. Okay. see now I've caught up, and that's the end there, and it does seem a little odd, but I'm just going to go down. There we go. And we are done. Yay! Okay, so what we do here, and I'll show you the back. In these ones here, when I did this, because you'd need a fair bit, I just did, when I started I did a knot. So, and to finish off, I'm just going to, so we've got a couple of little knots at the back, but we try and make it as close and pull it tight. You don't want it coming undone. I'll do two. Oop. There's that. There we go. Now what we need to do, I'm going to find some quite thin needles for this next part. Need to have a nice thin needle. If you can have it a little bit longer with a smaller eye, so maybe a thin needle with a small eye and a bit of a longer, like this one. Tell I might have used this one a bit. Nice and bendy, but it's tiny little hole, and that's a real pain, so I'd rather get something like that. So for this part here, I'm not sure what that needle is. You've got to just get with whatever you are comfortable with. Okay, so this part here, so we're basically finished on that bit, and what we're going to be doing now, I'm just going to show you how we're going to be cutting the pieces, and then in the next video I will lay it on the kitchen table over, and then show you how to put the pieces. But for now we are just going to be cutting the pieces. So okay, these are the bits that we are going to be making, and I've got this fabric here, and this fabric here. I might use some of this because I've already got mine all done. So I'm just going to grab, now these bits here are the size of that you use if you've got a tablecloth, which is 1.5 inch, that you need to extend it. These are this size, which is 3/4 of an inch. So you're going to get a fair bit of these. I'm just waiting for my local quilt shop to bring them in. And then these ones are these big massive ones. All depends how big your tablecloth is. Maybe you might want to do some of these outside bits in this size rather than the big size. So, but it'll explain all the way along. Now, what I'm going to do, I'll show you on one of these. So this is where your pen comes in again. Oop. Use this quite a bit, so it's definitely worth investing in one of these. So you get your little guy and put that in the middle. I might grab a little bit of the pink, and how we cut this, you'd put on more, you'd put on a couple at a time. Okay, let's cut that off, move this out of the way. So you've got about 1/4 inch all the way around. Okay, a lot of you guys have seen this procedure before, but I'm going to do it again. So now what we need to do is we just go like that, and don't go too close to the edge. You come off the edge a little bit. Am I in? I might zoom it in a bit. There we go. Okay. So don't go all the way to the edge. Go like that. Take this off. And then fold it over, and then but don't go like really tight, because if you do that, when it comes time to sew it, you're gonna catch. So you're going to be sewing and nipping that. So just over like that, fold it over, just lightly fold it over. Okay. Oop. That's probably a bit much. Fold it over. This last bit, you sort of go upwards. Now that seal has gotten a bit globby, so be careful. Yeah. So what you do, so you end up with a piece like that, and that's how I did all of these. And same goes for the big ones. See? That the big ones you need a little bit more, like rather that you can get away with doing 1/4 inch, but the big ones, you know, maybe a little bit bigger. So yeah, just depending on whatever you want to do. Now I'm going to be sewing with these. I've got four sides of the tablecloth. So, and I think they are going to go like that's the way they're going. So I'm going to try and match up. No, they're going that way. There we go. Because all we're going to be doing is sewing these pieces together. This is fairly easy. Going that way. I wonder if that way is better. I don't know. I mean, it seems a bit strange how I'm like being alpha, so that's just time. So that's going to go that way. Move them up. I just want them to work. Maybe I might zoom out a little bit. Yep, that's a bit better. Okay. So going to match them up. Maybe. And that seems to go all right. And actually that matches pretty perfectly with that. So, what I'm going to do, see these bits here in these, I just used leftover bits that had 2 that have got that green bit and 2 that have got that yellow bit, and then I'll alternate them. Now for this other piece with the small ones, I utilised this fabric and I sort of fussy cut, so I grabbed these ones, so I've got 3 sort of like bolder ones, and then I used, so it's the same fabric, you're sort of creating a pattern with the same fabric, but then you know, just so it's not the same. If you want to have it the same, I just didn't have enough of the dark ones. So so with this, all we're going to be doing is sewing those bits together for now, and then so you've just that's real basic. So where's my little tiny I'm gonna have to, I'll show you on one of them. Put those over there. So this is where the, you know, you would need not a too big a needle, because you don't want to be making it too thick. The thicker the needle, I've got a bit of glue on my fingers, so I'll clean them. Ugh. Yeah, and you need a needle, like a longer one. If you're a beginner, it's probably better than this, but okay. So what I'm going to do is just do a little knot. And then we're going to grab these bits here, and then go through here like that. And on this bit here, we're going to grab that like this and do like a holding knot, so that it ain't going anywhere. Okay, and then if you want to, so that the baby doesn't move, I might do that on either side. So what we do here is we just do the tiniest little, it's like this little slip stitch. This is why a longer one, and so you enough to grab it, but not enough to grab hold of the, not to grab the paper underneath. And you can feel it, you can feel when you go through. Okay, yep. Bringing it up a little closer. See these little baby slip stitches. I get a bit quiet when I'm doing this concentrating stitch. Okay, actually I might zoom it in, that way I can sit down. Okay, and it's okay to bend you think, because it's, you know, that's what we're going to do when we do those little ones. I might even take that one off, it's going to annoy me. When you can bring it closer to you, you get in a rhythm and you can do it pretty fast. So these 4 big ones is what you need to do with them. You get the 4 big ones and you put 4 together. But you've got to do with what works for you. Okay, I can feel it, and I can feel that I'm not hitting. Not hitting it. Okay. And it's definitely worth doing this little technique, because you've got the folded over, it's like almost like applique really, because all the edges are going to be folded over, and then when we actually sew it on, we'll be sewing it on with a slip stitch like we did the outside of the actual, the big hexagon in the middle. When we folded over those edges, we just sewed it down with the slip stitch. That's what the outside, when all these bits are sewn on next to each other, these will be sewn, and then you pin it down onto the thing, take out the paper, pin it down. Now when you get to the end, you go through, and then I go through again, knotting it off. And if you really want to, you can always go twice, just to make sure. Now for this part, you can cut that off. Okay, so when you open it up, you can't even see the join. See how good that is? Because you're sewing it that way. And then this bit will be attached to that. Sew that on and do that. And so do that 4 times with these. Or depends on how big. You've got to sort of work it out for yourself. In the next one I'll show you why I do 4. So you might have to do 5, or you might do 3, or you know, if these are too big, you can go with this size. So you get all these in them, but you will definitely be doing this size here. Now when it comes to, I'll just move them over, I'll just do that off camera. So when it comes to these guys, I want to double check that you're in camera. Yep, okay, so this one is the one that you'll see. Okay, now I'm starting, that's why I've got them all lined up to go how I want them to go. Okay, I think it was this way, because this one was the bottom. Ugh, just pedantic. That's how I am. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab that one and grab the middle. Okay, do a knot. Hang a minute, do yourself. Just doesn't have to be a massive knot. Don't want it to be too big. Okay. Now they are pretty small. If you want, you can have one of those clips. I always come up here, and this is pretty quick because it is so small. Okay, grab it. First bit you just tie it off. Okay. And these small ones are quite good because it doesn't take that long really. Now you can see why you have to be precise. If you don't want to hold it, just put this underneath, but I just find sometimes it can catch. That's annoying. So okay, slip stitch, just the little pinches. Actually, I find this quite relaxing. You get into the rhythm of it. This is the smallest I really like to go, because when you get those little teeny weeny ones, you're like, oh my goodness, so small. Okay, now when we get to the end, which we are going to get very close to, oop. The clips are probably better on the bigger ones, to be honest. I don't really use them. Okay, now at the end, do a little loop. Okay, okay, so now we're going to open that up. For that, see, perfect. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab that one, and we are going to go like that over here. Okay, there's, because there's a little bit. Okay, so you grab it. And if any of you have watched Emma Jones, on Vintage Sewing Basket, I think. She just gets a nice long thread and goes back, and I'll show you once I've... Hers is probably a good one to watch. She does all English paper piecing, whereas mine is a bit of quilting and a combination of everything, and she has some really good techniques. Okay. Like with anything, you can get knots. Tiny little pinches. So this is not bad because it's taking a bit of a break from you know, doing the big, I found holding that tablecloth give you cramps. Okay, now this one here. So again, okay, now I'm going to be opening that up. Now we can either, so here's what she does, Emma Jane, rather than undoing it, I just grab a little pinch in the middle, and then we go back down here and we sew the side. So the first one is going to be gripping, so you've got a little bit of that, but that's okay because you don't see it, it's underneath. So that's what she does. If you want to know, I think I linked Emma to my Stitching with Suze when I did those hexagons, because I'm making a quilt as you go. Like with the big hexagons, I'm doing a quilt as you go, and then I think I linked Emma's channel to that. She's got a really good one, like do's and don'ts on, and it's not a very long video. So okay, and the beauty of these, they're great to take with you when you're going to, you know, you craft things, because they're not really big and they're hand stitching. So you might catch the slow stitching English paper piecing bug. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. Okay, so there we go. So there, that part is done. So now we're back down here. Go back up there. So you always keep it there, and so we're down here. Okay. Oop. And like with the other videos, this is the time that you would probably be grabbing your bits and sewing along with me. Up. Anything small pointy needle, I'm constantly pricking myself. It's terrible. Okay, so I'll might finish up here. I think regardless of what size tablecloth you have, you will probably be sewing at least 4 of these. These are called grandma's flowers, I think that's what they're called. This is the one that I was going to use in the centerpiece, so I could probably use that in that bit that I created. Okay, now I think I did sew that off. No, just in case I didn't. Knot it off, and the reason why is because we are going to go grab tiny, she doesn't even grab it, but I like to do that, and then fold that down. There we go. And we're back into it. It really does happen pretty fast. Okay. Oh. There. Tiny little stitches. Now if you're a newbie doing this, you're really learning some lovely quilting, slow stitching techniques. Oh, it does catch. It's because my hands are a bit more forward and I'm doing it next to me. Okay, once I've finished here, I will stop. Okay. Ow! It hurts when you prick right on the end because your fingers are so sensitive. Now, and so once again, we are back here. So I can sew that down there, that way. So you've got the drift of what you need to do. For these guys, on how to cut them and put them together. So in the next video, these will all be sewn together, all these bits will be sewn together, and then I'll show you how I'm going to place them, and then I'll like stitch them down, and then I've got to want to do some leaves and stuff for this, so we're going to be doing a bit of embroidery and doing some leaves and stuff. So okay, a minute, I'll just grab that and pretend that's done, and then you'll end up being here, which is pretty good. I know, end up being across here. Oh, I'm doing it the wrong way. There you go. It's not going to take too long to undo. I'm supposed to be doing these two together on that side, and then I go back and do there. So, and then there, and then there. And you can bend them in half if you need to. So when it comes to that, you keep the papers in until you need to sew it down. So we'll just keep your papers in until the very last bit. So okay guys, hope that was okay for you, and I will catch you in the next one. Yeah, to do placement of where we're going to do it. I'm really loving how it's looking. It looks so good. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye.